Ed and Lorraine Warren are well known for the paranormal cases they have worked on throughout the years. Over the course of their career, they have investigated over 10,000 paranormal cases and have encountered some pretty scary ghosts and demons. However, a lot of people think that they are frauds, that they made up all these elaborate stories for fame and wealth. So that's exactly what we'll be looking at in today's video. Are the Warrens real demonologists, or will they be exposed as frauds? Starting off this countdown, we have the SML Family Haunting. Back in the 1980s, the SML family swore that their house was haunted. Now, I've talked about this case before, but basically the SML Family Haunting was famously investigated by Ed and Lorraine Warren. This took place in the 1970s and early 1980s. The SML family, residing in Pennsylvania, reported terrifying occurrences in their home. These included foul odors, strange sounds, physical assaults, and disturbing apparitions. Of course, Ed and Lorraine Warren came to investigate, and they claimed that it was haunted. Now, these are said to be real photos taken by the Warrens. This photo features chairs being thrown around in the home. You can see the Warrens are around the table with the SML family, and they're ducking for cover. It seems as if they were trying to conduct a seance, and it went very wrong. But get this. Members of the clergy were brought in to do a blessing and exorcism on the house, and they reported that nothing unusual happened there. In fact, one of the priests had this to say about the Warrens, and I quote, "They weren't sincere. They were not what they purported to be. In the end, the church said that the family was just stressed over the health of their son who had brain surgery. And the foul odor that they smelt was because they actually had a cracked sewer pipe by their home." So the church kind of came in and debunked everything that made their place haunted. Still, the Warrens were adamant that it truly was haunted, and they made a book off of it and got some money. Next up, we have the Enfield Haunting. This was the case that was featured in The Conjuring 2, if you've seen that movie. The Enfield Haunting of the late 1970s in North London, England is one of the most famous cases actually investigated by Ed and Lorraine Warren. The case involved a young girl named Janet Hodgson, who was said to have been possessed by a spirit. The spirit would throw objects across the room, make noises in their house, and sometimes would even make Janet levitate into mid-air. Ed and Lorraine Warren were assigned to this case to try and expel this demon from Janet and the home. But turns out that Janet and her sister Peggy made up the whole thing. In 2015, when Janet was 45 years old, she said that her and her sister faked some of the paranormal activity. So according to researchers, most of the paranormal things that happened actually happened when no one was actually looking or paying attention to it. Like, they would have their backs turned and then all of a sudden an object would be thrown. Obviously, that was the girls doing it themselves to fake this haunting and get attention. They also said that they captured audio of a dresser falling over on its own. But upon inspection, footsteps could actually be heard leading up to the dresser before it fell over, meaning somebody walked up to it and pushed it so that it did fall over. And the photos of Janet apparently levitating in mid-air look more like she was just jumping off her bed. And then we had Janet that actually confirmed that this was the case. So this whole time, Janet and her sister made this whole thing up, and the Warrens kind of went along with it. Also, according to other sources, the Warrens' involvement in the case was really little. Apparently, they showed up one day to the house uninvited, and then they just left. They didn't really help the family. They just kind of wanted to get information on the case and then take it and run with it. And again, receive fame and fortune. Moving on, we have the Amityville Horror. Now, this is one of literally the most controversial paranormal cases of all time. In the end, the whole thing was kind of a sham. Here's a little rundown if you don't know this case, but you should. In 1974, the Lutz family moved into this house in Amityville, New York, where a year earlier, Ronald Defoe Jr. had murdered 6 of his family members. Soon after moving in, they experienced terrifying paranormal phenomena, including mysterious voices, unexplained odors, and swarms of flies. They claimed to have also witnessed demonic apparitions and felt a malevolent presence in their home. Their doors and cupboards would swing open unexplainably, and green slime would ooze from their ceiling. They even said that they once saw a demonic face with red glowing eyes in the house. Well, when the Warrens got a hold of what was going on, they contacted the family and they went to go explore this house. They spent the night at the house with others to see if it was truly haunted. In the end, obviously they concluded it was haunted. And like a direct quote from Lorraine was that she sensed great malevolence in this house. But apparently this was all fake. So William Weber, who was Ronald Defoe's lawyer, admitted that he made up this whole story over many bottles of wine with George Lutz and a writer, Jay Anson. They admitted that the house was actually never haunted. They just got really drunk and they made this story up. So, there's that. In our second spot, we have the Snyder Family Haunting. This is the family where the Haunting in Connecticut movie was actually based off of. Story goes that Alan and Carmen Snyder moved into this home with their daughter and their 3 sons. While exploring their home, they found weird stuff in the basement, like tools morticians would use. That's when they realized that their home used to be a funeral home. And that's when the haunting started. Their eldest son started getting terrifying visions and seeing ghosts. One day, as Carmen mopped the kitchen floor, the water suddenly turned blood red and smelled of decaying flesh. So on and so on. Just weird stuff happened in this house. In 1986, the Warrens investigated the home and claimed that it was indeed infested with demons. But here's the thing. A man named Ray Garton was hired by the Warrens to write a book about the haunting. Later, he revealed that the family apparently had serious problems with drug abuse and alcoholism. When he interviewed the family, they couldn't keep their story straight and all had different accounts of what happened. So he told Ed what was going on, and Ed literally told him to just make stuff up to make it scary. He said, and I quote, "You've got some of the story, just use what works and make the rest up. Just make it up and make it scary." That is a direct quote that Ed told him. So the writer literally made up 90% of the story. On top of that, the neighbor living in the upstairs apartment in this haunted house claimed that nothing paranormal ever happened to them. And if you're living in a haunted home, paranormal activity is gonna happen in every room. I'm sorry. You're gonna witness it. Again, take that information and do with it what you will. And in our number 1 spot today, we have The Devil Made Me Do It. Now, this is the story that The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, that movie, this is the story that that's based off of. It revolves around a man named Arn Cheyenne Johnson, who in 1981 fatally stabbed his landlord, Alan Bono, to death. But he claimed that he was totally unaware of this and that the devil possessed him and made him do it. This case was the first court case where the defense was arguing demonic possession. And of course, Ed and Lorraine Warren were involved in this case. In fact, they might have even made up this whole story to help him get away with murder. Let me explain. So according to the story, Arn's brother-in-law, David Glatzel, was the first one to be possessed by this demon. He claimed that a man with big black eyes and a thin face with animal features was controlling him. In reality, David was never possessed. He was mentally ill and was in need of some serious professional help. According to David's brother Carl, he claims that his whole family was manipulated by the Warrens. He claims that the Warrens promised his family that they'd become millionaires if they insisted that David was haunted by demons. In the end, he ended up suing the Warrens for trying to exploit his brother's mental illness and for attempting to get a guilty man to walk. Now, where does Arn Johnson come into play? Well, he claims that he got the demon out of David by telling it to take him instead, and that's how he became possessed. But like I said, this was all apparently, allegedly orchestrated by the Warrens. Alright folks, that's all for today's video. I know a lot of people wanted me to cover this, so I researched, and this is just allegedly what there is out there. You do with this information what you will. I still think that there's some sort of credibility to the Warrens. Don't come after me, but like, they actually have helped people with real demonic possessions and have caught some pretty spooky things on camera. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I did a whole series on like lost footage from Ed and Lorraine Warren. You should check it out. I will have it linked up above and in the description box. So again, I'm just presenting you the facts. I'm not saying what I do or don't believe, but there you go, folks. Don't come for me. Don't shoot the messenger, okay? Yeah, and if you want to see more videos like this, then let me know in the comments below. You can also let me know what other videos you want to see from me. While you're down there, smash that like button. Obviously, subscribe to my channel. I've been your host, Lindsay Ivan. Stick around for some bloopers, because I messed up a lot in this video. So you're welcome. And I'll see you when I see you. Bye. The Smurl family residing in West Pittston. The Smurl family residing in West Pittston. Smurl family residing in West Pittston. I'm so sorry. The Smurl family residing in West Pitts. No, we're just going to Pennsylvania. Members of the clergy were brought... Clergyman? I don't know, I fucking hate that word. Members of the clergy... Clergy. It's not clergy. Okay, whatever. In fact, one of the priests had to say this about the... In fact, one of the... They were not what they purported. But upon closer inspection, footsteps could be... But upon... In 1974, the Lutz family moved into a large Dutch colonial... No, I hate that word too. Is it colonial or colonial? Who fucking knows? Where's the R in colonial? Why is it spelled the same? Okay. So soon... I'm so sorry. Well, William Weber was, What is going on with this? What is going on with this? In our second spot today, we have the Sneaker. In our second spot, we have the Snyder Family Haunting. Snedker. Good thing I put that phonetic spelling in there. I can't even pronounce phonetic. Phonetic. There we go. Story goes that Alan and Carmen Snedker, story goat. In reality, David's brother was never, no. According to David's brother, Carl, he claims that the whole